Hey there, my name is Aimee Nelson, and I am the CEO and Executive Director of Hope with You Mom. I grew up right here in West Palm Beach. My father was a pastor. I grew up front row piano side. And even though I grew up in the church, that did not necessarily mean that I had a relationship with Christ. I tell people that I had a form of godliness denying the power thereof. I have a brother and a sister. One of the family secrets that we had is that we were all adopted, but they never told us. Once I surrendered and gave my life to the Lord, married my husband, who at the time did not tell me he wanted to be a pastor, else I probably would have thought twice about that. But nevertheless, there I was. We're serving in church. One of the ladies invited me to be a part of a ministry called First Care. And she asked me to come and help serve the young moms. And of course, I'm like, that must be, I'm supposed to do that because I'm adopted. I understand that, being rescued, and God gave me a place. I said, sure, fine, I'll come and do that. My oldest at the time was 17. My youngest was 14. And as I'm serving those young teen moms, I got a stomach virus that lasted 9 months. Needless to say, that was totally unexpected. Not part of the journey. I had plans. I was gonna be a Bible teacher, travel, speak. And I'm like, wait, you want me to start all over? Nobody's got time for that. I'm not interested. And God's going, yeah, I am. So I found out I was pregnant. That was a little shocking, but a lot of the ladies in the church came and surrounded me, because you can be saved, walking with the Lord, and still have an unplanned pregnancy. That was unexpected, right? And I had my son, and then God sent us another blessing. I had another one, Micah. And after I'd spent some time with the boys, the Lord said to me, Aimee, if you, being a pastor's wife, struggled with an unplanned pregnancy because you had plans, you had dreams, you had goals, imagine what it's like for the girl that doesn't have that. She's not a believer. She doesn't have a support system. She doesn't have a husband. Go and build what you have or what you wished you would have had and what was missing. So in turn, I built a ministry called You Mom. Got together with First Care and developed their parenting classes and got started in that journey. Girls need to understand that there's purpose. Even in the mistake, God can take and do something extraordinary with that. Because in the life of Mary, remember, that was an unexpected pregnancy and it changed the universe. We keep moving on along. And like I said, remember, I was adopted. My adopted mother, come to find out, lived right here in West Palm Beach, not too far from here. And in 2019, I had the opportunity to meet her. And the Lord said, you're gonna pick her up, you're gonna take her to lunch, and you're not gonna say a word. You're gonna minister to her. I said, okay, fine. She sits there and we do lunch at the Chili's right there on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard. And she tells me my story, which I thought I already knew. And she proceeded to let me know that I was conceived out of sexual assault. And she had gone to abort me 3 different times, and God said no. And all I could do was listen. And I thanked her for sparing my life. I also shared words with her that I share with moms that I meet in the ministry, that I'm sorry that happened to you, but God had a purpose and a plan. And later on, what I discovered was my story was bigger than me. Because God rescued me and saved my life, He then in turn called me to rescue other girls and tell them that we're part of a rescue mission and that God's called us to restore, and we are serving modern day widows. So there I was, finding myself like I got my purpose. That's why I'm here, to serve young moms. And I loved every minute of what God's called me to do, reminding a girl that she's pregnant with purpose, and that God can take every bit of her story and do something extraordinary with it. Daryl and I love the part that we get to do. And like I said, I started out this ministry serving single moms. A year ago, February 2024, my Mr. Incredible traded his cape for a crown. And Daryl went home to be with the Lord. And here I find myself, I started out serving single moms. Now I'm serving as a single mom. What I knew only in my head is knowledge. Now I know it as experience. What it's like to be a single mother, to worry about, the bills and worry about how you're gonna raise your kids. During Daryl's passing, so many people rallied around me and my kids. I felt community. I felt love. And once again, God said to me, what you felt, you go and provide. And so here I am. God's using my story. I tell people I am my ministry. I am living proof of what God can do. And I want to say to anybody, God can take the pain. He can take the disappointment. He can take the shock, and He can take your story and use it for His glory. The question is, will you put every one of those pieces in His hand? You have to give it to Him, and He'll do something extraordinary with it. Because our God has a way of taking purpose, taking pain, and turning it into purpose. He'll take your mess and give you a ministry and do something extraordinary with it. He's still writing stories. Give Him back the pen and let Him write yours. He's a faithful God.